As far as Europe is concerned, certainly there's been a huge disconnect between economic data and market performance. The FTSE 100, the German DAX, marching to great heights, even with all that's going on. And you are long European markets. Even now, why?
Well, essentially, this is more of a long-term play for us. We think that it's looking cheap, relatively speaking. Whether we're expecting any growth out of Europe is a completely different thing, and we're certainly not looking for the market to increase substantially as of now.
Okay, and which sectors would you get into? And now that there is a lot of concern about maybe rotationing happening from defensive to cyclical, if you're a subscriber to the growth story, then do you also pick up, go into more of the cyclical stocks in Europe?
Potentially. I mean, certainly this week, the news that was broken earlier this week that there was going to be less onus, I think, on kind of forced austerity, which is really starting to impact politically within Europe. You've seen it, your story just prior with this kind of rapprochement between Hollande and Merkel. This certainly hasn't been the story we've seen. Certainly within France, the difficulty they have in actually making the correct structural reforms that they need to actually do, say within their within the labour market, for example, is very, very difficult to do in a recessionary stroke depressionary scenario. So it's good to see that if they take a little bit more of a pro-growth stance to the Eurozone generally, we think this is going to be positive for demand going forward.
Yeah, but very quickly, some also say that the leeway being given to some of these countries, 6 EU nations, that's actually more of a sleight of hand in accounting, and therefore aggravates the Eurozone crisis.
I don't think we would go that far at the moment. I think that it is incremental. They've essentially given the countries more time to meet essentially the 3% deficit target. We would like to see more.
Okay, well, certainly you're not the only one, I'm sure. Mark, very nice to have you on the program with us.